Hey, everybody. Hey. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. It's not using the right mic. That's my favorite. Let's ditch this and set that. Okay, that's theoretically using the right one. Yeah. Um, maybe I should put a poofy thing on it because I breathe like a freaking. Breathe too heavy. Let's put this, I don't know, over here somewhere. All right. Maybe that'll be okay. I think it is. Hitting the yellow, not doing anything too offensive. Hi. It's been a little bit, right? What did I do last? Oh, some hot and sour soup because I had a little sniffle. And factual foodie, of course, which I lost. Bronze medal, whatever. Which is fine. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Have a seat. So today I decided to just stream making dinner. I'm making some things that something new and something old. First thing I'll do is start on this salad, and then I'm going to make these ribeyes. This salad, oh, I should put up the chat in case people are joining in. Bless. I hope you are. Is it in Stream Manager? There we go. All right. All right. So ribeyes were on sale because I guess President's Day, people barbecue. This is my Twitch Unity shirt. Isn't it awesome? And so we got a couple of those, but we were in Charlotte for Valentine's Day. Went to a lovely burlesque show with the Flamingo Review. So I'm making ribeyes today. The first one I'm going to do is going to end up being salt and pepper. My son just wants salt and pepper. The second one I'm going to do, we got this seasoning in Asheville last time we went there, and it's bourbon maple jalapeno seasoning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rub with that. I'm going to add a little of this nice Spanish paprika and a little coffee and do kind of like a blackening treatment on the steaks for Rob and I. But I'll do Vic's first to get it out of the way because he just wants salt and pepper. Can I yell about my butcher today? I'm stuck with Food Lion. We don't have a good local butcher, and look at this little guy. Hey, what is happening? And how unevenly it's cut. Like this end tapers off for no good reason. I mean, it's fine. I'll make do. I guess I'll eat the smaller one. I certainly have it to spare. And Rob's not as thorough as I am. I'm a little more assertive. If I don't like the way the cuts look, I will ring the bell and talk to the butcher. Although it looks like they're encouraging that. The new sale paper for Food Lion like has a little blurb on it, like tells how you want it cut, which I'm excited about encouraging that. I think people aren't used to that or don't realize they can do that. But first, I'm going to make this Thai cucumber salad. This is something that me and everyone but Fletcher in the house, we really like, that I've been making for years. Now, I originally got this recipe from Dana Carpenter's 500 low carb recipes. You can see by the condition of this, it's I've used a lot of this over the years. I'm no longer doing low carb. It does have a couple tablespoons of sugar in the dressing, but I'm just going to use it's usually Splenda's in the recipe. I'm just going to use sugar. it's not that much for as much as I'm making. I'm in the fridge getting the ginger right now. I think I have everything else out. But we love this. And oh, the cucumber. Um, I have cucumber, a whole English cucumber left from Factual Foodie that I got for the tabbouleh. So I'm going to go ahead and use that up today and make us this salad that we love. Yeah. Gonna need a trash bag. Do 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 do. Okay, so I'm gonna use the food processor for this. Now the dressing, I do not use the food processor for. I'm gonna get that going first, just so it's got a little more time for those flavors to blend on their own. Even though that's not how it says to do it in the recipe. So, what do I need here? I need a small bowl for dressing. I need a quarter cup of, half a cup, quarter cup, half a cup. How many cucumbers? This is normally 3 medium cucumbers, so I'm going to have this recipe because I don't have that much. So a quarter cup of rice vinegar. This is Mise-Con because it's all they had at the time. I usually buy the Marrow-Con, which I also have, but I won't need today because I had just enough of that left. So you put the vinegar, some salt. Where's my little cauldron? Where's my salt? Just like a quarter teaspoon, a little bit of salt. What is that? Speck of dirt. A little pepper, again, don't have to be super particular. And the garlic and the sugar and the ginger. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of ginger. Yes, my paste. Gosh, I love it. Great cheat. I think this is the thing that I first started getting tube ginger for. I mean, you can always keep a hunk of ginger, and it is cheaper, in your freezer and grate it to use. But then you have to still screw around with taking a spoon or whatever to scrape off the skin sugar. I only need halving this, like a tablespoon of sugar. And there we go. Let's mix that up. I finally have a tiny whisk. Drew cooks on TikTok. Like, I couldn't resist anymore. He's so adorable with his tiny whisk. I could use a couple more, I think. This positive, I don't know. Someone's texting me. All right, so that's going to sit and marry up a little bit while I start this. So you put the S blade in, standard blade, and you do your onion and your jalapeno with that. It normally takes a half a small red onion, but again, I'm having the recipe because I don't have a ton of cucumber. So let's just peel this. Jalapeno, I think it wants one. I'm going to put a half. I'm going to seed this and rib it. These smell like they're pretty potent. I just got them today. I love, can I say for the 100th time, how much I love having Compare Foods just down the road. I needed jalapenos for this, and I didn't want to swipe it because I knew it was going to be really cheap. Because jalapenos there are $1.79 a pound. So thankfully Rob had some cash. So even I got 3 of them, even though I only needed like a half a jalapeno, and it's still like 34 cents. Love that. So I'm gonna take the rest of them and I'll make stuffed jalapenos. I'll just mix up some. Oh, any of you watched the New Year's stream we did for charity? I'll make stuffed jalapenos in the air fryer like I did then. So you can always go back and watch that archived here on Twitch or on YouTube. Quick little snacky snack I'll make with the rest of the jalapenos I got for my whole 34 cents. Like, all right. These are people I know have alerts for my stream, and they're like deciding to message me right now. That doesn't mean I'm available. It means if you want to come talk, come in the stream. Okay, so easy peasy. Where's the top? Yeah, mince these in the food process. You need to push it down a little bit. Of course, we'll mince a little more evenly if you have more volume in there, but not a big deal. Hopefully, blowing the leaves out. Cool. So that's done. This is so easy, and we make it in the summer. I make it often, and every time I take it somewhere, people ask me for the recipe. I've given it away many, many times. So take out the S-blades, put on your disc blade, put it not grater side up, that's grating, but slicer side up. This one big thing goes upward, so it will slice your cucumber. You can like quarter them or whatever when you've got, but with this kind of the English cucumber, it's going to fit. Now you can, of course, do this by hand. You don't need a food processor to do this. You can mince up your onions and jalapenos. And then just thinly slice your cucumbers. I did forget something in the dressing, but that's okay. I'll address that in a second here. You can also seed your cucumbers, although these are often called seedless, these English cucumbers or whatever, or European. They're not really seedless. You can seed them if you want. It'll just make it a little less watery after it has time to sit in the dressing, but not really necessary. I usually serve it with a slotted spoon, which, solves any of that issue anyway. Okay, let me get the food processor out of the way. It certainly does make it like easier to do super fast. Okay, there needs to be, don't need that blade anymore. 2 or 3 cloves of crushed garlic, so clove and a half. So to taste, which in my house means 2, easily. We're no such thing as too much garlic household. So I'm gonna mince that up. I've got a garlic press. I don't use it very often. For this, it might be a good thing because it would do a lot of exposure, but it will also make it a little extra spicy, and we've got jalapenos for that in the salad. So I'm just going to mince it and get that into this dressing, and then put the dressing in the cucumbers, and then you have a salad. Let it sit for a little while. You can put it in the fridge or whatever. And it's so good. It's like bright and refreshing. You can, of course, modify how spicy you do or don't want it. You could do it without the jalapeno, but it would not be the same. I mean, if you really just don't want spicy, you want that flavor in there too, though, to give it that Thai thing. to have the ginger and the jalapeno together. Um, the garlic and onion would just not quite do the same thing. So just take all the ribs and seeds out and uh, put even less of it in there, but I would advise to always use the jalapeno. If you want to go crazy, you can use a more spicy pepper. I've used a serrano, and for some reason there weren't jalapenos around locally, but that kind of unbalances um, all these other. Because I mean, garlic and ginger are nice and strong, but I mean, only so much capsaicin you can take before you can't taste anything else. So I'm gonna spend a little time beating on this just to make sure that garlic is getting flavor out of it before I'm going to put these out of the way in a cauldron. Before I move on to the next thing. Yes, I'm just eating red onion. I love it. Okay. While the dressing is sitting a minute, I'm going to season at least Victor's steak. He'll get the medium. Pardon me. Dang it. Sorry about that. He just wants salt and pepper. I'm disappointed. So I guess what I'll do, get some olive oil out and grab my cast iron. Because I still want a nice brown, yummy sear on all of the steaks. Cast iron really is the best tool for this job. Move the cookbook. Again, that Thai recipe, there's a pork chop recipe in here that uses like Splenda and cider vinegar and a little mustard. I think that's or no, there's a curry mustard one with chicken. There's a pork recipe that you put like onions and cider vinegar in it, and it kind of turns into a syrupy sauce. It's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna turn that all the way up. Give that pan a little time. Flip the steak. Season the other side. And then I'm gonna, while the pan heats, mix up our cucumber salad. And then I'll be able to get that out of the way so that I can get this rub put together for me and Rob, who for someone who didn't have a very expansive palate when we met. We've been married for 26 years, and he likes this salad. He likes my crazy inventions for steak rubs. I want to mix this really good. When you've got the cucumber sliced really thin like this, you do kind of want to make sure they separate, and so the dressing can get between them all. The salt and the vinegar and stuff will pull some of the liquid out of the cucumbers, and there'll be more dressing or more liquid in it a little later. But you want them blending and it kind of seeping in. It's almost a quick pickle, except it doesn't change the texture much unless you leave it for the next day. This is good for days, by the way. You can keep eating it for days. Put it on sandwiches. I'm going to add a little more vinegar. I'm finding it to be a little unbalanced towards sweet, which if I was using Splenda, it would have been even sweeter, because even though it's supposed to measure the same, I find it doesn't really. Let me taste that. There we go. It could maybe even use more jalapeno for our tastes. That jalapeno was not as potent as I thought. And it is just Rob and I eating, I think. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to mince up one more jalapeno. And keeping in mind, not a whole lot more because, and I'm not going to chop it super, super tiny because again, that exposes, just like with the garlic, more little bits and makes it hotter. As it basically marinates, it's gonna get stronger. So, but look how beautiful it is too, with the red onion and the green jalapeno. Mm. Okay. Not completely as hot as I want yet. Gonna have a sip of my water. Salut, JC Bodnar. How are you today? I do salute cilantro with a ginger ale. That doesn't seem right. Now, normally I'd be making my rub in my big mortar and pestle, because I would have to be grinding stuff up. But I stopped Donald Trump sticker. The coffee I'm going to add. You know what? I do want a little finer. Just going to use a little coffee. That's probably a tablespoon. I'm going to cheat partway with the rub with this spice from Asheville, this maple bourbon jalapeno seasoning, although I want to give it a taste. We haven't used it yet. Oh, that's got something nutty in it. Maple, jalapeno, pepper powder. Ooh, and it's got kick. Takes a second. Paprika. I'm going to add a little more paprika, I think. I've got some nice Spanish paprika also from the Spice and Tea Exchange. Oh, black walnut sugar. Okay, so that adds a nice little depth. Normally with a rub like this, I will put a little sugar in the rub to help with the blackening and caramelizing. The coffee should help tamp down that significant kick it has. What else is in here? Ethyl alcohol for some reason. Black pepper, garlic, and chive. Okay, so I'm going to put a good tablespoon and a half, I'm going to say, of that in here. And some of the Spanish paprika. My pan is smoking, so I'm going to throw the boring steak in. I'm going to use a little olive oil. So I throw stuff in on the floor. I'm going to give that about 4 minutes aside. So let me see here. I don't need to crush this anymore, but I'll mix and so you can see it. See how that balance works out. That looks pretty good. The coffee's not going to completely overwhelm it or anything. I'm going to say about a good half a teaspoon of this paprika. And then I got to figure out if I feel like this is actually enough for both steaks. And what is that big chunk? Oh, it's some of the maple sugar. I love that I found a spice blend somewhere that is using maple sugar at all. It's funny, they just, ethyl alcohol. You know what? That's what they're calling bourbon in this. Nutritional labeling is weird, yo. Okay. So don't let me forget to turn that steak. I am going to. I'm doing good today. I hope you're doing good. I love seeing you feeding your kitties some fish. I hate how much smaller the steak is. It's not fair. Um, I made fish for lunch today, but I didn't stream it because I was kind of hanging out watching Ribeye stream, and I had never cooked monkfish before. I had a recipe that looked good, basically, doing a butter base to do the finishing, and some rubbing these literally, um, and herbs in the butter in the brunoise, like brown butter, basically. But it was really bland and disappointing, and I will not do it that way again. I will probably, um, yeah, all the seasoning. Um, Add a little lemon, which I did before. It's another thing I learned while low carbing because I would do it with eggs. Is get your brown butter going and squeeze some lemon in it, uh, in the pan, and then pour it over the eggs. Because it seemed like the recipe, what they wanted you to be doing with this monkfish, but it was just butter and herbs and garlic. It didn't add enough flavor that I wanted because monkfish is a great texture, but flavor wise, it doesn't really have all that much going on. Um, Lobster of the sea or not, or lobster of the, I don't know. What do they call it? But that's all about the texture. I'm going to get it all the way around the edges. So I'm going to be farting around a lot with these in the pan. I can't tell you how good this smells. And yay new rub, if this works, I will definitely shortcut and continue to use this seasoning for that. If you have other ideas for this maple bourbon jalapeno seasoning, let me know. I'm glad I thought of it. Like, we've had it several weeks. Yes, brown butter gets a little nutty. It's a great flavor on its own. It's counterintuitive because like you're burning your butter, but man, it does a great thing with flavor. Eat It Dad's, who's another streamer I really like on Twitch, has this brown butter garlic cookie recipe that I want to make so badly. Okay, so in about 4 minutes. Look. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's the boring steak. For those of you that missed it, there I am. This is my Thai cucumber salad. It has ginger, jalapeno, red onion, garlic, rice wine vinegar, a little bit of sugar, salt, pepper. It's such a great compliment to something fatty and heavy like a steak. Man, a mess over here. I'm thinking that our steaks are going to need a little salt finish with this rub. Because it doesn't have any, none in the seasoning. And what I only added paprika, right? That's all I added? Okay. So I'm going to fire around with my son's steak to make sure the ends get cooked to the sides. Still needs browning on the other side. Let me set that up to cook the side a little while I go get my smoked salt. I feel like with this flavor combination, that's going to be the exact right add. for these steaks. Now, I don't want to put a lot on now. A ribeye is fatty enough, it's not going to um, lose a lot to pre-salting the way that a leaner steak would. Okay, how are we doing here? Okay, let's get this back down. Oh, you know what? The end still needs. We want that nice fatty edge to get caramelized. Maillard reaction, if you will. We want it to be smoky. But this is something where I like to undersalt anyway, and then if I feel like something will need salt at the table, this is an opportunity to put out the smoked salt, which is something that as soon as the weather permits, the Japanese cucumber salad. Similar. It's got more flavors going on. Sorry, as soon as the weather turns, I need to smoke another batch of salt. I'm running low. Um, yeah, the Japanese cucumber salad you get on the side, sometimes with sushi or in a Japanese restaurant. It's usually just kind of it's rice wine vinegar and some sugar. But this having the garlic and jalapeno and the ginger and stuff really kind of ramps that up to 11, getting that combination of Thai flavors in there. All right. The steak is going to be another couple minutes. I'm kind of tempted to finish it in the oven. Let me look. No, it's fine. Just so I could get going with mine. But these sitting with the rub on them is not going to hurt anything. Another thing. I think I'm not going to do it on stream, but before I put my food processor away, because it won't hurt to have the jalapeno, little bits of jalapeno and onion in there. The hummus I made last week needs some zhuzhing. It needs more tahini. It needs to be smoothed out a little. I think I'm going to add some jalapeno anyway, and get that ready to just use for the snacking purposes, to use it up. Look. See, okay. You see this? This is, ow, the fatty part. That doesn't count. This is still really rare. Um, even more flavor. All about all the flavor. I mean, this is why we go to this effort to do stuff on our own. I swear, like, a very significant portion of me going to a restaurant and bringing myself to spend the money for a restaurant is, does it look like I'm going to want to steal their recipes or modify them and make them at home? And my favorite restaurants, absolutely, I do that with. Oh, good, JC. Thank you for letting me know. This is my Hollyland lav mic. I wasn't able to use it for the Factual Foodie because I had to have ears in as well to hear everyone else. And so I was using my AirPods, and then they died halfway through the last stream. And yeah, I'm really glad to be using the Hollyland again. They were really inexpensive. They were recommended to me by some of my friends in the Frog Pants community. And man, I feel like they sound good. It's got a little fuzzy thing because the first time I used them, I was like, oh my gosh, I breathe heavy. Okay, this is more toward medium now. Perfect. Let's see, or medium rare, I should say, which is what my son is going to want. One of these mics went through the wash, and the dryer, and I don't know how many times it went through the dryer. I found it like magneted to the inside of my dryer. Um, pulled it out, charged it. Um, the one that went through the washer and dryer took a while to turn, way longer to turn green, like days. And I unplugged it all because it's got like it's a little red light when it's not charged and it turns green when it's fully charged. Um, and but eventually they both it turned green again, and I have tested both of them, and they still work. So I was joking with my husband. I'm gonna drizzle a little olive oil on this side of the steak for when I flip it over, because my cast iron is well seasoned, but still, this isn't a full on blacken because I don't want to smoke up the whole house, and this burner won't quite let me do that. I mean, but obviously, look, great color. Um, I'm gonna nickname this mic, the lav mics, Nokia. It's like I'm of an age that if any of you ever had one of those Nokia, those phones, man, those little bricks that look like a walkie-talkie, early in the cell phones becoming common, and holy, yeah, those would go through the washer, through the dryer. Like we weren't used to carrying them around, so that happens, right? When you're not used to having it on you all the time, like we are now with our phones. I mean, my iPhone would never make it through the wash, like that couldn't happen. But my lab mic did, because I was new to having one, and I just didn't take it off my shirt at the end of stream. And but yeah, inexpensive, and they sound great. And lab was a really important upgrade to me. Um, uh, this is my dining room table. This is an electric burner. Like this is a laptop a friend sent me. Um, my kitchen is my house was built in they think 1950, and like they don't know, they can't find the records of when it was actually built, and the kitchen is kind of a little haphazard in more than one way. Um, the people that own the house before us, we did get to know them. We bought it, they like built it or whatever. Older couple that we rented from for a year before we bought it. And Dick thought he was handy, did a lot of stuff himself. So we're always running into stuff. The kitchen is not great. Um, I could not do a cooking stream in there, let alone the connectivity because a lot of these walls are plaster. And oh, I smell the nuttiness from the walnut oil. Mm, okay. I do want to make sure it's not blackening too much because of the sugar. A lot of our outlets we found, that's fine. That's blackening. Yes. I'm going to turn it down a smidge. Um, yeah, no, I was just going to say the electrical. No, no, not so much. And we still haven't spent the money because it's going to be a lot to have it all grounded. Like, somehow the sale managed to go through in this house, even though the majority of the outlets are not grounded. That is gorgeous. That level of black is perfectly fine because I know that's caramelized maple sugar. I mean, yeah. I'm going to take my son his steak while that one gets its couple of minutes. Hey, you. Overwatch, huh?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Yay, you get to hear me sneeze. Now, if these steaks were a little thicker, pardon me, they're only like an inch, I would finish them in the oven after getting this color on. Um, I'm gonna again tip up the sides to get that delicious fat seared up. Oh, God. We have a breaker box and a fuse box. Um, there's one, the den in my house where you enter is, it apparently, it used to be a carport once upon a time, so it's on a slab instead of having a crawl space like the rest of our house. And so, like, the floor is really cold in there all winter. And um, so, and then it's got a laundry room off of there, but there's a breaker box over there. But on the inside wall, which would have at one time been the outside wall of the house, there's a fuse box. And it's got two kinds of fuses in there. It's got the little screw in kind, I think they're 25 watts. And then it's got these ones that look like shotgun shells that go into a thing that pulls out and pushes in. Um, yeah. At one point, we had a handyman tell us that they were doing away or those weren't going to be code anymore. So we bought a whole bunch of them to keep in a drawer to hold us over until we can someday pay. Last estimate I got was I think $11,000 to um, basically have the whole house rewired. Yeah, loads of fun. Okay, this is still pretty on the rare side. I would eat it like this. My husband likes more medium rare, so I'm turning an oven on to nice and low, like I'm gonna say 200 degrees. And I'm gonna put his steak to rest in there on a rack so it doesn't lose this wonderful crusty blackening goodness while I cook mine up. So what else did we run into? We lived here about 15 years until we found out that I'm gonna put a little oil in here. My steak's gonna have all the blackety blacks on it. The um, sewage, like the not the bathroom sewage, but the kitchen sewage from the sink and stuff, and the dishwasher was just draining out under the house. It wasn't connected to the septic properly. So we had a leak under the house and we called a plumber and they went under there and they came back out and they said, nope, we're not touching that. Your house should be condemned, but we won't tell anyone. Don't call us again. Thankfully, I knew a person who had a guy who showed up in like hazmat mess and a bunch of lime and pumps and pumped that mess from under my house and threw down lime and got all the pipes rigged up underneath. And I can't believe that didn't come up in all the other years of plumbing issues we had. Because we had a well when we first moved here and it kept, yeah, gray water. A pipe would break because, again, our handy friend who built the place didn't use the right kind of PVC. And so we'd have to dig like 4 feet down in the mud and fix and repair with junctions and little clampy things. And we kept having to repair all this pipe from the well house to here. Eventually, the well gave up and it was so old that you couldn't get a motor that anymore that fit that type of well pump. So we ended up getting hooked up to county water, um, which, cool. All right. One less thing to worry about, right? Except because of all this nonsense with the wrong kind of pipes, the added pressure from being on city water, well, county water, compared to the well, more leaks started happening under the house. Like, just a series of, it's like we thought the problem was just between the well and that was getting cut off because it wasn't coming from there anymore. But as soon as he ran the pipe up to the house, then we started getting the leaks under the house. Um, we've had a lot of adventures here. I'm glad the house is almost paid off. We can start to do some things I want to do to make the house better, like new interior doors and the electricity being fixed. And we want to put a fan in the chimney so we can actually use our fireplace. There's something with the pressure system. A friend of mine said, um, who owns a lot of properties, said it's probably because of the creek behind us. We've got this little pocket of weather on our street because I see it with other people too. When they have fireplace, people are using their fireplaces, wood stoves, whatever. The smoke you can see coming out of the chimneys and just dropping. Um, and when we've tried to use our fireplace here, it kind of backs into the house. Now, my dad was a chimney sweep. I know how to use the chimney and the flue. Get it nice and hot up there first so you've got your flow going and then put your logs in. Yeah, no, it was not usable. And we'd love to be able to use it if we, run into, I don't know, ice storms like we've had recently. Um, as an emergency heat backup. I'd like to expand it and cook in it like a Walter Strabe, like a maniac, but that's just me. Um, yeah, I think all the gray water. I mean, it was supposed to go in the septic, it just didn't. I've definitely lived in places where it just went out to the wood or a nearby creek. Um, one time, and thank God for Rob's parents loaning us money to have it fixed, and we paid them back over time, month by month. Our whole septic system collapsed. So lightning hit a tree. I didn't know that. I knew there was a lightning strike really close by because it was bam, like shook the house. And the craziest thing is no breakers flipped, none of the fuses got blown, but light bulbs went out, burnt out. Like, weirdest power spike I ever experienced. Yeah, the draw. Um, and then within a couple of days, I'm keeping time on my steak. I like it nice and rare. And one of it, this butchering job is shitty. Um, mm. So a couple days, the toilet was backing up, um, and the tub didn't want to drain, and it smelled bad, and I was like, okay, great, we have a sewage problem. Um, and it was that all our septic lines, they were old, they were made of terracotta, and they had collapsed. I mean, we didn't know that for sure. We just had somebody look and they said, you need all your lines replaced. I'm like, okay. So we paid somebody and they came out and they had to dig up the entire yard and pull out trees because our property is oddly situated with all these hills on it and valleys. And they had to be able to get the big equipment up. Um, and one of the guys repairing the septic line said, so did you not know about the lightning strike? the tree. I'm like, what? And he walked me out toward the end of our driveway, and we have this huge oak, ginormous old oak, like big around, like you could not reach halfway around. And the cool part of this story is that growing up with three boys in the house, and your school always had them make a safety plan. Like, what if there was a fire? What if where do you get out of the house immediately? Don't worry about getting everybody else out, and where do you go to meet? And this tree was our meeting place if it hit the fan, something really, really bad happened. That was our meeting place. This guy shows me, and there is about 3 inches wide from top to bottom, a burnt line in this tree that had taken this strike that, I mean, saved my house. I feel like we lost our septic and we were able to get that repaired. I actually have a this strip of bark that I kept from that tree. A couple years ago, we paid to have it taken down the rest of the way because branches were starting to fall, and we're gonna have to get a little more yard work done because now that the roots are composting, our yard's getting a little mushy. But that's okay, man. Yes, it's been exciting. So our meeting tree of safety saved our house. I'm looking forward to my dinner. I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna and have a bite after it rests and hang with you guys. And because Rob's not here to have dinner with. Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be exactly how I want it. Ooh, it smells good in here. And I'll be able to let you know if this rub was a success. Sorry, I can't share the recipe for the rub in the Discord, but I could share a rub recipe. I mean, I don't normally use an actual recipe. I kind of just have a little of that, little of this, little of that proportions thing going on. I'm gonna go, instead of getting upset with the butcher, can I go thank the butcher for forcing portion control on me with I get the little steak. Or it is a little smoky in here. Hold on. Mute. There we go. Yeah, oak's great for lots of things. If it were shadier over there, I would put a bunch of spores in the stumps. But it's not. Now that the giant tree is gone. Oh, it's funny. All along our driveway, there are huge slices of this giant oak because the people that took it down didn't haul it away. They just piled it next to the driveway, and it was so covered in turkey tail that my son harvested and then took. He's kind of a mushroom fanatic back home with him to Raleigh, but then he said it was false turkey tail. I don't know. Mm. I love this cucumber salad. This is an regular in my household. I make it a lot in the summer, and having it right now is just going to be. It's a nice treat. It's also a way to get my picky husband eat vegetables. Mm. I forgot to tell Victor there's cucumber salad. He has a little cold, so he'll appreciate the little bit, enough spiciness to clear your sinuses a little. So my sister messaged me while we were here. Fresh roadkill. They didn't hit it this time. Somebody else did. But they must have seen it, and they are those people, like, they'll call the ranger, get permission, and have some venison. I'm all out of venison. When my dad passed this past summer, has it been 5 minutes yet? I want this steak. I'm gonna give it another minute or two. I was traveling up there a lot, and my sister and her boyfriend gave me a good amount of venison that I put to good use. And then I think it was the last time I went to the food bank before Rob got employed again. They had venison at the food bank. I was so excited. All right. Let's cut into the end. It's going to be nice and rare, like I like it. So I can show you. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous. And cast iron's all right. Tool for this child. Let me put it on a fork so you can see this. Oh, I should probably take a picture too before too long. Look at that. Oh, okay. I'm gonna take a picture before I eat it. I keep forgetting to take a picture. It's okay. Let's put some of this pretty salad on here. So I can get some of the jalapeno and red onion to show just for the aesthetic. Like I said, there's not like a ton in there or anything, so I mean, I could put a red onion, yes, next to it, and then people would know it was in there, but there. Close enough, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something I don't know how to do yet. I'm gonna work on that with my son, who wants to start hunting now that he's inherited guns from my dad and his father. I want to learn how to butcher. That's too much light, right? That's kind of dumb. I don't want shadows, but there we go. Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out because I know how to butcher lots of animals, and I mean, anatomy's anatomy to an extent. But I don't know how to field dress to grab the animal and, get basically, I mean, you're basically getting the guts out, and then so that you can travel with it without contaminating the meat. And I do want to learn to do that because there's definitely been times that something by the side road, wow, a lot of juice came out of this, even though I let it rest. Oh, good God, folks. Anyway, there are times I've seen something just hit and like, oh, I want to go grab that. Oh, this is really good. Sorry. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it. Probably because as much as I don't want to admit it, I really hated losing that competition last weekend. Ugh. Wow. Okay. Note to self. This is a fantastic call to add my paprika, a little smoked salt, and coffee too for my coffee rub. Normally I use coffee, ancho, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, pepper, um, garlic, and onion, and make my own rub. That's a freaking good call. And I think next time I make my own rub, the jalapeno, actually, this is jalapeno too, doesn't really come through. The heat mostly got lost. There's a tiny left toward the end that you wouldn't know from a black pepper type of heat in a blackening spice. Um, but I can taste that almost little tiny bit of fruitiness that's making it go with this salad so well. But the note to self is I think next time I make my homemade rub, I'll use a little maple sugar um, instead of just, a little regular sugar to help with that caramelization. Because I pretty much I always have jalapeno maple sugar in the house because I use it to make my breakfast sausage and to cure my bacon, mostly to cure my bacon. Holy shit! All right, that's a winner. I almost want to say it's the best one I've ever made. Um, Yay! Thank you. Um, and I mean, right? There's no loser. I mean, people could say all that, bronze medal, whatever. It was a little disappointing to end up losing again to someone I had won against, but only barely here and there. I was a little disappointed, honestly, to get fewer points from Chef John in the last round there, because I really feel like my game was really, really good for the theme, being a bowl, um, instead of just something that, you can put in a bowl. I mean, holy crap, Mega Bites. I gotta say, Mega and Dom are both amazing. We had such wonderful chats in the food and drink um, club Discord afterward. Just such lovely people. The superstars. I mean, they have all that TwitchCon cachet that I don't have yet. I've never been to TwitchCon. But I have had the joy of cooking for other communities that I help organize stuff for. And I look forward to doing it even more. This might be the best one I've ever made. I think what I'll do is it's too bad my son didn't want this. He just wanted salt and pepper. Because he could have let you know. But I could have Rob give me the feedback if he thinks this is the best one I've ever done. That's cooked perfectly. I wish he'd come home. All right, I'm going to turn it down a little lower to like 150 so it does not overcook at all. Because it's perfect right now. Oh, all right, 170 is the lowest I can go. You know what? I'm just going to shut it off and leave it in the oven to keep warm for him. But he'll be, because this is something, it's usually like a Father's Day, Valentine's Day type thing. Because steaks tend to go on sale then, right? And I'll do a nice rub on Father's Day. I mean, a lot of the time we'll end up on the grill for it. But winter holidays like Valentine's Day, the cast iron in the house. Sometimes I have to put a fan in the window if I'm going really hot. Um, is something I really, really just figured out a couple years ago. You know what I haven't done is cocoa powder in a rub for this kind of purpose. That's something I've seen a lot of, and I imagine it works pretty much exactly the same as coffee does to just balance everything out. I use coffee when I make homemade barbecue sauce, when I smoke ribs or braise them or whatever. And you've got, your vinegar and your tomato and whatever fruit juice you like to use. I usually use like an apricot nectar, like my grandfather did for barbecue sauces. And sometimes it's too bright. And coffee is a lovely, like, you'd never know it was in that barbecue sauce. An amazing way to balance a flavor and enhance other flavors that I don't think people know about. And that's why I'm here to help people learn to do things they may not have tried. But yeah, some nice finely ground coffee in your steak rub. Ooh, keeps it from tasting sweet, even though it's got that maple sugar in there. So you get the caramelization without it being sweet. Mm, mm. I want to kick. Hold on, I'm trying to read chat. It's a little trickier. A couple years ago, this is really good. Where is it? There we go. A couple years ago, because my grandparents grew up eating squirrel. Oh yeah, never had one to try. So, yeah, they will eat your strawberries soaked in milk, so they're really gamey. Because I understand that's what people do when if they find venison too gamey, which I never do. Um, Teeniest bit of salt here. It doesn't really need it, but I've had people smoke venison or soak venison in milk for that purpose. So I've had squirrel, but only in a stew. Back in, I'm gonna say, the late 80s, I was living on my own, finishing high school, but I had an apartment and a job. I had a roommate who was a carny, so she wasn't there very often. And my dad used to give me game, like rabbits and squirrels and like small game that I could fit in my small freezer in my apartment. Oh my God, my poor roommate comes home and is like, "What the hell?" Because I mean, he would vacuum seal it, and have it in the freezer. But I mean, it still looks like an animal. It's the whole animal, with the rabbits and stuff. And I ended up using it for. I tried my grandmother's Hassenpfeffer recipe with the rabbit. I didn't have much success. But then I was invited to an SCA event. If you know what the SCA is, it's the Society for Creative Anachronism. They do reenactment of like medieval uh, stuff. And we went to this ball, or not a ball. It was a big barony event. I forget which one it's called. Um, but it was like a fencing tournament and a feast and all this stuff. And we went off board, which is the cheap tickets that don't include any food. I'm going to cut the thin end of my steak and see what's going on there. See how overcooked it got because my butcher's stupid. Well, you know what? It's still a solid medium. I can live with that. Um, so I cooked and I made a big pot of stew with all like a bunch of root vegetables and game that my dad had given me, and it was a huge hit. Like the Baron's table was coming over and trying it, and like they were just like, "Who are these people?" Because one of my friends won. He took really high, like second place or something in the fencing tournament, and no one had ever heard of us. We were kind of new to the organization, and we had decent clothes because this other household had kind of adopted us and given us loaned us clothes and stuff to wear. and I shared my food with anybody who wanted it, and it was so, authentic, and it's just big cauldron of game and stuff. Mm. Yeah, I really like gamey flavor, like lamb. Oh, I love lamb. I haven't had a lot of experience with goat. I only had it a couple times. I just didn't like the way it was prepared. I think was more than anything, or it might have been the age I was at because I didn't like lamb when I was younger either. Um, and people that think venison is gamey, I don't even understand because I don't know. I just maybe it's because I grew up with it. It's not more gamey than beef is to me. So then I think my dad came to visit one time when we lived down here. He's only been to visit once. Um, and he brought me a bunch of squirrels. And I tried um like pan frying. I tried something with him and I just wasn't crazy about it, and it was a lot of trouble for very little meat, and I was raising 3 boys at the time, 4 if you count my husband. But my next door neighbors, they were telling us, or somehow we found out they love squirrel, and they've got recipes. They're a Mexican family. Hey, your steak is in the oven, keeping warm.
Okay.
I want you to try it, and I want your opinion.
I will do that in a minute.
Okay. Um, and they like were so happy. I just gave them like a bunch of squirrel I had. They bring me sorry, there's a little plane flying by. Um, tamales sometimes at Christmas time. Um, they're like the best neighbors I've ever had. But they were so excited to have the squirrel. We like to trade different food when we can. Yeah, I love lamb so much. I love lamb so much. I think I made my um, my kids a little sick of it because I was making it too often for a while. But now that I've been doing the donair with it, they're kind of back on board. Mm. So I guess we can wait. You don't have to wait to see it in Discord. Although, yeah, join my Discord if you haven't. I know at least one of you has. Tonight, all right, before I sign off, I should look for somebody. If you have an idea, if there's somebody on I could raid, please let me know.
Oh my goodness, it's huge.
It is huge. I took the little stupid one.
The little weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta watch them butchers over there.
I think people around here, like the butchers at Food Lion and whoever cuts the pizzas and nachos, are afraid and they close their eyes when they do it.
Hey, you are no longer allowed to give anybody at Marco's shit. Well, at least not that one person.
No, the young woman that made the pizza for me and Fletcher, she went crazy.
My husband is very nice. I mean, we all are. We're, about it in our household. Like people in the service industry, servers, wherever we are in the store, retail. Like, be kind. There's no reason not to. Say hello. Look in the eye. They're a person. Like, that's a person. And they're probably having the worst day because those jobs are all terrible. And I guess.
Shit, that's delicious. It wants a little bit of salt, but that's just because.
Well, for you, definitely wants a little.
Palate likes
Oh, the smoked salt's right here, though. That's fine.
That's okay.
His pellet, he always requires more salt. Um, yeah, I'm bordering on best ever, but I don't want to say it myself. Like this one is
very, very delicious. Hand me the cucumber salad, please.
yes,
I definitely need some of this too.
yes. Okay. Um. So anyway, he went and got pizza night. Went and got pizza at our local Marco's for him and our youngest, and It was stacked with pepperoni, like a mound of margarita, like the good cupping pepperoni, like just you couldn't see under it, like
It was
past it.
ridiculous.
It was an insane, fucking awesome. I've heard of that. Like there's somewhere I think up north where you can order on purpose. They call it monster pepperoni or something. You can get that and like, but I had never seen that much pepperoni on a pizza in
It
my
was
life.
it was almost too much. And that's saying steak is very good.
Ooh yeah. I wouldn't say too much because you could pick all the crunchy bits off the top. I got to have a little, even though pizza was what I was eating that night. Okay, well, I guess I should head out. How long did I take? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's see who's on Twitch. I didn't get any recommendations from y'all. Home. Following Bob Ross. No, that's not real. Seeing a natural history museum. That sounds nice. Crochet is on. Ooh, Date Night In is on. What are they doing? Marley's Crafting. Let's raid a Date Night In. I really enjoy their stream. Um, can I get in the chat here, please? Thank you. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, folks. I hope you learned something. I hope you were inspired. I hope you come back again soon. I hope you joined my Discord. And I look forward to cooking with you soon.